everybody. Hello. So glad you guys are joining us. We've had a busy day here. We've been doing private lessons with puppies only because everybody is going a little stir crazy. So on our daycare floor, we have more than 6 feet space, lots of space in between us, so that we can still continue to do that, to try to get some energy out of these poor babies. All right, so here we are. Next to the nipping and chewing that we did yesterday evening, this is probably the most. So we got potty training, nipping and chewing, and then the jumping up. Those are really the 3 big ones. So I will say that this one is something that you will probably, most people struggle with it for a while. It is not something that typically goes away very soon. And there's a couple of reasons for that, and we're going to talk about it, and then I want to hear from you and hear what your concerns are and what you think and what you've been trying and what's working and what's not working and all that stuff. So first of all, let me ask you, does anybody have a puppy or dog that is under 20 pounds? Yes. Okay. How much does the dog under 20 pounds weigh? We got 2 of them.
Probably about 10 pounds right now. She's only 10 months
old. And how big will she get? Or
35 pounds.
How much?
35 pounds.
Okay, 35. So 35, okay. And then anybody else?
Ours is 15, and we're not quite sure how big he's gonna get.
And what do they have an idea?
Probably low
40s, we think.
40s, okay. So not, at the end of the day, not under 25 pounds.
No.
Right, okay. Anybody think their puppy or dog will stay under 25 pounds, full grown? Okay, good. So the reason I ask is because if you have a puppy or a dog that's under 25 pounds, usually I say this is a choice. This is a choice that you need to make, because if we have a puppy or dog that's under 25 pounds, the problem is that nobody will help you. No people will help you, and will tell you that people are harder to train than dogs, and that is a fact. So being able to explain to people what's doing, if they're small and they're cute, it is much, much more difficult. Now, the larger they are, the easier that is, except for, you all know, still, no matter how big they are, you will still get people who go, it's okay, I like it, no worries, you know, all of that stuff. Now, the problem is, at this point in time with us, of course, is that we can't do any practice greetings with friendly strangers and friends. This is a problem, because that's what we need to practice, really, because it's all about the greeting almost always. So you guys are going to have to work twice as hard to try to get it to happen with you. So it's usually the greeting time. Now, let me ask you this question. Can anybody tell me that they are 100% sure, with all their heart, they know for sure that their puppy has not been reinforced for jumping up at all, not one time this whole week? Right. So that's the issue here, right? This is the issue. So let's think about this. So why are they jumping up in the first place? Who can tell me? Just like the nipping and the chewing, why are they doing it?
They want attention.
They want human interaction. That's it. They want human interaction, period. Okay? The other thing that's difficult about this is that jumping up is their default behavior. That's their default behavior naturally. And so what we're trying to do, which is why we teach in class number 1, anytime we do anything, is to try to turn their default behavior into a sit. And most of you have probably done that. Hopefully you're asking them to sit, meaning say please for every single thing, every single life reward, because that will help you, of course, in the long run. Okay? So they want human interaction. So let's think about this. If I go to the slot machine, I go to the same slot machine, and I go every single day for 10 days. And I go to the slot machine every single day, and I win every single day, except for the very last day I don't win. What am I going to do tomorrow?
You're going back to the machine.
I'm going to keep playing. So if I play 10 times, but I only win once, I keep playing. So if your dog jumps on you 10 times and they only win once, they will keep going. They will become a gambler. So here's the thing. We also get this kind of a thing where, oh, well, they've stopped doing it to me, but they still do it to my wife, or vice versa, or, you know, the kids or whatever. So because they learned that this machine doesn't pay out, right? They never were. But this machine sometimes does, so it's worth the gamble. So here's the issue, is that if I'm gambling and anybody gives me attention, I'm going to keep doing it. Now, you all just told me, none of you could tell me that your dog, that you were 100% sure for a week that your dog was not reinforced for jumping up. So this is the big rub here. We have to be so crystal clear. It cannot be gray. It cannot be gray at all. It has to be black or white. And this is why this is so unfair, because so much of the time when they are babies and they are so cute and furry and they look like teddy bears and they're like, oh God, and then they jump on us and we say, oh my God, and then we just reward them all the time. So we're just teaching them it's the best thing in the world to jump on me. I give you all kinds of love. Then one day we walk in and now you're a 4.5-month-old puppy and you're a lot bigger and you jump on me and now I'm angry about it. Well, that's not real fair, is it? Because I'm very confusing now, because I've just taught you your whole puppy life that it was cute and fun, and now all of a sudden it's not so fun, and your only crime was you got bigger. That's it. That's all you did. So it's not fair. We confuse our poor dogs like crazy. So here's your deal. You have got to make sure that they understand the crystal clear rules, black or white. So here's what you have to take, and we can talk about how to teach them something different later, but right now, if you do not want them jumping on you, you can never, ever reinforce it. You cannot have it both ways at this point. They cannot differentiate between, oh, she's wearing her gym clothes today, and tomorrow she's wearing her office clothes. So here I can jump, here I can't. Oh, here's a young person, oh, here is an old person. They cannot do that. So either it is always 100% okay, or it is always 100% never okay. So here's the deal. This is your choice and your decision. That's it. I do not care if you let your puppy jump on you. I like it when dogs jump on me. It happens to me all day long. I don't care. But you have to decide 100% yes or no. That's it. Now, especially with giant dogs, it's so funny. I feel like people with giant dogs, they want to teach like a hug or a dance or something like that, which is cool and fun and everything. We can do that later. We cannot do it at the same time, you know? So the very first thing is teaching them, when you greet a person, you greet me with a sit, because if you are jumping up to get my attention, say please. That's what you do to get my attention, is say please. Okay, so how many of you, so here's the thing too, if you look at this, you have to help each other and help other people in your home, because in this center, in my training center, it is a very, very big no-no to reinforce or give any dog attention for jumping up. Clearly, this is what we specialize in, it's what we do all day long. Puppies and teenagers, it's a really hard thing. Still, sometimes I will walk in and see a trainer like, oh, la, 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 and they don't even know they're doing it, and that's because they're giving love. You know, they're just giving love. And so we tend to do that accidentally, but you have to look at it and realize, well, what position are they in, and what am I reinforcing here? Because it can be very confusing. Giving love is one thing. Now, many of you probably have younger puppies, and if they are going cuckoo, if you can just get them to sit for just a couple of seconds, then get on the floor and go crazy with them. Do whatever you want, but just teach them that when we greet a person, we do it with a sit. Okay, so before I go on, let me ask for questions or concerns or any specific examples that you want to talk about.
I've got one about Taco jumping
Taco.
up. Hello.
Hello.
What happens when we're sitting and eating something, and then he just will not stop. Really, like I won't encourage it at all. I turn away. I'll just tell him off once, and he'll get off. But then, 15 seconds later, he's right back up there again. I never feed him from like the table. If I ever give him any food, I go back to his area after we're all done. but it just doesn't seem to stop ever.
Yes, and so Taco, and you will know whether your puppy is in this category, but Taco, I just had a lesson with Kip, who is a 3.5-month-old German short hair pointer. And he is busy, busy, busy. His brain is moving 100 miles a minute every single second. Boom, 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 boom. And Taco was a little bit like that also. So he's just jumping up. Are you sure? But are you sure? But are you sure? But are you sure? But are you sure? That's the thing. So like we talked about yesterday, it is impossible to be as tenacious as a puppy this age and the one that is going towards adolescence, because Taco has nothing but time all day long. This is so fun. It doesn't matter to me. I can keep doing this all day long and it's not a big deal. So you are doing the right thing by, here's the deal, it cannot get any reinforcement. Of course, if you feed a dog from the table, they're going to keep begging every single time. So they're going to keep going and going. Even if you're trying very hard not to give any reinforcement, he is still tenacious enough, and it's just part of his natural temper and his personality. He just wants to keep trying. Now, here's the deal. With a dog like that, if you go, look, Stephanie said that I probably have to do it 25 times in a row. If you go 25 times in a row and still nothing happens, then guess what? You're probably going to have to go 50 times in a row. You're either do that, because here's the thing. Again, if it never gets anything, if any behavior never gets me anything, if I go to the slot machine and I play 50 times and I never ever win, eventually I will walk away. But if I win one time, I'm going to keep going, meaning it's not even about food, it's about human interaction, right? So let's think about this. If he thinks that this is a fun game at all, because it sounds like it's fun to him, right? It's kind of fun. If he thinks it's fun at all, let's think about, would be what we would call an extinction burst. If they're used to doing something a whole bunch of times, and they just keep going and keep going, think about this. If they teach a mouse to push a lever to get a piece of sugar, a sugar cube, that mouse can learn to do that in about 10 minutes, no problem. So it learns it very quickly, no time at all, and then they give the mouse a sugar cube every time they press the lever for 2 days, and then they take the sugar away. How long do you think it takes before the mouse stops pushing the lever to try to get a sugar cube?
Quite a while.
It takes like over 2 weeks, meaning they just can't stop trying. So here's the thing. So it's very difficult when I'm eating dinner and you want my human interaction for me not to give you any human interaction. You know, it's hard because any interaction is good interaction as far as Taco is concerned. And I know you guys have done so much work, and I'm sure you're probably doing a very good job of it. However, if there's, so again, I know you guys aren't doing this, but if anybody in the jump up is going, no, stop, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, any of that, that is human interaction. Any attention is good attention as far as a puppy is concerned, period. That's it. Now, if there is any, are you rewarding Taco? Like if he sits or offs, are you rewarding him, marking it, rewarding it all with, what, is it just, if he does get off and sit, or just verbal praise?
We've tried both. So the only things we've ever done are off and literally removing his paws and putting him back onto the ground and then saying sit. And then sometimes he will get a little treat occasionally, but then we were trying not to get into that habit of giving him one every time. So sometimes it's just verbal praise. And other times we'll make him do something else after the sit to kind of break the cycle.
Right, that's good. That's
or the other one is just literally don't say anything, and I just look at him until he knows he should be off of me, and then he'll back off. But
I mean, you can
it'll last 10 seconds.
10 seconds, but if you, I mean, it's crazy making, and I mean, I don't know that any of us would be able to do that, is to literally just let it go on, and it gets nothing.
Okay, so don't do like no interaction whatsoever. Try that maybe.
You get nothing from me, ever. Nothing from me. Anybody have a cat? Anybody seen how the cats ignore the dog? Anybody seen a cat ignore a dog before? Cats are expert ignorers. They are experts. So a cat can be right here. The dog is here. Whoa, 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 whoa. And the cat would just be like this. You don't exist. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you are. Nothing. They are pros. And guess what eventually happens? Dog finally goes away because the cat's not giving me any interaction. Now, that's crazy making for a person sometimes. And here's what he said that everybody should hear. And that is what Taco's dad said, is that he's trying to mix it up so he breaks the cycle, so he's not doing the same thing every single time. And if there's anything wrong with positive reinforcement training, is that they can figure out the chain very quickly. So what I don't want it to be is always jump up, sit, treat, jump up, sit, treat, jump up, sit, treat, right? Because then that becomes the game. I jump up, I sit, I get a treat. I jump up, I sit, I get a treat. So we have to mix it up. So it's not always the same thing. And how about you keep the sit for 4 seconds before I give you the treat? Even that is mixing it up. Now, here's what I have to say. If you have a dog like Taco and Kip, who is just, I mean, they just cannot stop. Again, this is his very confident, independent personality. This is what you got. And so, and it's not a bad thing at all. He's going to be fun to train. You're going to be able to teach him so many things. However, and I know that my answer for you is always put him up. Put him up, put him up. But in this case, I say you got to manage him. You cannot just stop. You know, it's too much for you. Sometimes you need to have a good dinner. You know what I'd say, maybe for you want to start working with him and many others in this kind of situation? I love the tethers. Do you know the tethers?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You can create a station for him with a tether. I'm going to show you guys. I happen to have it right here. There is a website called pettethers.com, and I can send that to you if you want. This one I just got on Amazon. So you see it's this, it's got a rubber backing on this wire, and it's got a hoop and a clip. And so what you do with this one is you hoop it around a big, heavy piece of furniture, and then you put this through, so that's around like a table leg or something, and then you clip this to their harness. And guess what? Now they're staying there. They're not going anywhere. So maybe you put him a few feet away from you while you're eating, and you give him a marrow bone, or you give him something to chew or whatever while he's doing that, but he can't ever come get you, right? You're tethering. So this is another way to boundary instead of his pen or his crate or a baby gate. But right now, there's something about what's happening here that even if you are trying your hardest, that Taco is getting reinforced for, and that's why he keeps doing it. Something.
Okay.
You know, so you just keep managing, but I promise you, the work that you're doing, you keep doing it, you keep trying to be as tenacious as Taco is, and it's going to pay off. It really will. One day we're going to get over the hump, I promise. Okay? Anybody else? What kind of specifics do you have for me to talk about?
One thing that we are seeing is even with the social distancing and people don't want to get close, when we're on walks, if someone gets even within, 10, 15 feet, Millie will start jumping to, and we've asked her to already preemptively sit and kind of are sitting with her as they continue to approach, but she just can't seem to stop herself.
Because she wants to say hi to the people?
Yes.
Yeah. And so again, not a horrible thing at all. What we would call that is aggressively friendly. Not a bad thing at all. I'd like for my dog to be very, 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 very friendly. However, of course, this is not what we want. And when we don't have social distancing, you're going to get tons of people who are like, ah, la, la, la. So we cannot have that. So you will hear us talk about constantly, if you end up taking any further training with us, and that is for a situation like this, especially for a social dog like she is, social with people or dogs. I will say, when you are walking, unless you have a person who you know you can train and who is going to listen to you, I would not do any on-leash greetings. First of all, never do on-leash greetings with dogs. But unless you have a person that you really know that you think that you can do this, then don't even do it, because they're going to mess up your training. People will mess up your training. That's the bottom line. So no matter what you're doing, if you are starting to greet friendly strangers, you give them a treat or whatever it is, and you say, yes, you can pet my dog. Ask them to sit first. Nobody is allowed to touch your dog unless they sit first. If you start to get through puppy class part 1, then we're going to do more like, okay, ask him to sit down and roll over. Then you can pet him. Okay, so, but here's the deal. Right now, I would say to every person right now, she's in training. We're in training. So just keep going, because I want her to lose the thought that sometimes it happens. You know, because she's like, what about this time? Oh, that person looks good. I like that one. I like that one. So let's just teach her that that's not what we do on the walk. The walk is about me and you. It's bonding time. Me and you time. I need you. I will become the center of your universe. We need to establish a psychic bungee cord. You've got to be the center of her universe where this is a bonding experience, not social time. That does not mean I don't want her to be social. I do, a lot of social, but not leash time on the walk time. Unless you are going to meet a friendly stranger and that stranger you know can actually do the work.
Thanks.
Yes, and so here's what is probably happening to many of you. And that is, yes, my stranger says sit, or you say sit. They do sit because they all have a good default sit. Then the second the treat goes in the mouth, they're like, ah, back up again. Yes, because that is where you are as far as puppies going into teenager land. That is what we get. If that's happening to you, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So that's why at this point, we do not expect them to have a perfect sit stay. It's almost cruel. They're little babies. They've got ants in their pants like crazy. Here's what's happening, which is so good if they're doing that. That means that they understand what it is you do want, and they're trying so hard, right? So they're in a sit, oh God, okay. I mean, they're just trying so hard, which is good. Eventually, it will stick. As they get older, they will be able to keep a sit stay. But right now, it's very difficult for them because they are such babies and they are so excited. Okay? Which is why we're going to talk about giving them something else to do besides just a sit. Right? Besides just a sit. Because you need more tools in your toolbox to redirect them to besides just a sit, because right now it's difficult for them to keep a very solid sit stay. That's why. Anybody having that problem? Is anybody, any of the dogs being able to keep a solid sit stay? Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
For a few minutes, and then like she does pretty well in the beginning, but then we'll come out of it.
Right. And so that's good, meaning that she's using her brain, right? She's really trying. She's using her brain, and it will get better and better as long as you are very consistent with it. That's the thing. So let me ask you, do you agree that it's mostly the greeting time, like the come home time or the greeting time? Are you getting it badly in any other time?
So for us, she loves to come running from behind and jump on you from behind because she knows she can't jump from the front. And so when because she knows that that's not allowed, but she still likes to jump. And then she also, when she comes to greet now, runs really fast, then kind of slides in between your legs, lets you pet her, runs around you, and then starts jumping. So she can't jump, but it's just so social and so excited that it doesn't last.
Right. And so is she doing this all, or is she getting this when she's in her kind of cuckoo mode? Is this a lot of the time? Is this when you come home? Is this a greeting?
You literally go to the bathroom and come back, and it's like you haven't been around for like days. Now, like it doesn't have like she's a golden retriever, and every single person she wants to love. Like right. It is the same amount of, oh my gosh, it's a person.
Right. And so again, not a bad thing at all. Now let's remember, when we talk about living in the moment, let's remember how they prove to us every day that they are literally living in this very second. You go to the bathroom and I come back 3 minutes later. You go to the mailbox, I come back 3 minutes later. It's the same exact greeting that you get when you've been gone for 6 hours. That's because they are living here in this moment. How awesome is that? Too bad we can't do that. Now, one of the things that reminded me of, and so what are you doing with her when she does that to you? She comes and jumps on you from behind, slides under your legs, does the crazy cuckoo dance. What do you do about that?
So she knows sit, and we say sit and we say down, and she will respectfully do that. It's just she doesn't hold for long.
Right.
So it helps if we bend down to her level, because then we're kind of coming to her, and it keeps her from wanting to jump up. And she doesn't constantly jump. She does like an initial jump to say like, hey, I'm here. Yes. And then she doesn't really jump again.
So that's the greeting time you're talking about?
Or just like when she's coming to you. Yeah, I guess every time she approaches.
A greeting. So that's good. So she's settling down pretty quickly. Is anybody saying that they're having severe jumping up problems besides the dinner time, like Taco was? Are you seeing the severe jump up any other time besides the greeting or coming home or any of something like that? So happy to see you. Okay, good. Now, if you are practicing, hopefully you are practicing the I'm leaving you alone stuff, right? You must be right now. Hopefully you're practicing that. If you are practicing that, or even before all of this nonsense started, before all of that happened, when you came home and you saw your puppy that you love so very much and you had to be away from them for so long, what was your energy like? Was it like, oh, hi, puppy? Was it very calm? Or was it like, oh my gosh, they are going to emulate your energy, whatever it is, right? So if you, I mean, I'm guilty too. I'm so excited to see my dogs when I come home. I get so excited. It's so fun. But of course, if I get so super excited, then they're going to get super excited also. So we have to think about that also, that they're going to model our energy. So if you don't want them to get cuckoo, you cannot get cuckoo either. That doesn't mean, again, once you get a calm greeting, then sit down on the floor and everybody go cuckoo together. That's fine, but just not as a greeting ever. Now, one thing that you said that reminded me of, so much of the time you will hear when I say to people, when your puppy jumps on you, what do you do about that? What are you guys doing about that? Anybody tell me what you're doing about that if your puppy jumps on you?
Coño. I will jump like back or turn backwards so they don't have my attention.
Okay, good. So you're not, so the idea is not giving attention. So backing yourself up and then turning around. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yep, same thing. I turn my back to him and just kind of ignore him.
Okay.
And
anybody else? Okay, so Steve, when you do that with Woody, does it work?
pretty good. Yeah, he's like you said, he loves human interaction.
Yeah.
So if he's not getting that, you know, he'll back off and maybe come back a little later, try something different.
Okay. Anybody
But
else?
he's real good at sitting.
Good, good, good. The initial jump up, is anybody else doing anything differently? Okay, so here's what I have to say. One time, I went to a dog training convention, and there was a woman up on the stage demonstrating how to teach your dog not to jump up. And so here's what happened. She got up on the stage, and it just happened to be a very goofy brown chocolate lab. That's what it happened to be. So not any offense, Woody. That's what it happened to be. So she stood up, dog jumped on her. She turned her back. Dog jumped on her. She turned her back. He went in front of her, jumped on her. She turned her back. He went in front of her, jumped on her. Then she was doing this kind of business. Then it was this. And I was like, whoa, there's got to be a better way. I have also seen someone turn their back and get their butt nipped like that. And or just like you're saying, jumping on your back, right? So turning your back for me is not enough. It's not enough. Again, yes, in the vein of I don't want to give you any attention, yes. However, I don't think at the end of the day that it's specific enough or it is enough. So who can tell me, what is our philosophy? If you're doing something I don't want you to do, i.e. jump up on me, what should I do about that?
Redirect.
Redirect. Tell them what it is I do want them to do. Now, we've just talked about how all of us are trying sit. Yes, indeed, we're trying sit, but it just doesn't, it doesn't hold long enough because they've got severe ants in their pants. Yes. So now we're going to try to help them with other things. Like I said, it will start to work. It will start to work. Now, if you are really working on that default sit, meaning that they are really learning that they can train people, I can train people. Every time I sit, they give me stuff. This is the most amazing skill I've ever done. Watch this. So I started watching this with my Jack Russell in my old place. And so he's an old man now, so it's different. But when somebody would open the door, it would go ding dong, right? Sound conditioning. He knew sound conditioning meant someone just walked into the lobby. He would then run out of my office, run right up to that person and sit, hi, like that. And people would lose their minds and immediately reach up into the treat pouch, give him a treat every single time. And he did not do that because I'm such a great trainer. He did that because he was like, this is amazing how well I train these people. Watch me. This is all I have to do, and they will give me a treat. And I think that the reason people would be like so impressed with that is because they're not used to dogs greeting them that way. It's just a sit. It's not a magic trick. It's just a sit. That's it. Right? So that is why it is so important for you to keep up with this default sit stuff. Because basically it is about, this is how I train people. Because that stuff, that will change your life. Just that one thing. Hey, Taco. If your dog starts to learn to do that I greet people with a sit, people will be amazed. But you've got to keep that up. You need to be practicing a default sit at least 50 times a day. At least. Do not give your puppy anything without asking please first. They must say please for every single life reward. It will help this also if they get very, very, very good at this, okay? Now, the other thing, the command that we use often is off, right? We don't actually teach off in a class, but I'll tell you, if every single command has a picture, off means 4 feet on the floor. Chances are your puppy does not understand that word yet, right? So you can say it, but they do not understand the ESL word of off. They probably are starting to understand sit, I would imagine, but they're not off. So what moment do you mark? If you say off, what is the moment that you mark? Meaning to give them feedback that they did it right.
Or paws on the floor, booty on the floor.
Exactly. 4 feet on the floor. That's what off means. So if I were to go, off, and then 4 feet hit the floor, yes, I mark that. 4 feet on the floor is what off means. I then would highly suggest that you do something even immediately following that, and that is off, sit. Yes, thank you. At this point. So you're going to work on that. So the off is a very good command, but I just don't want you to be thinking that your dog understands that yet, because I really doubt that they do. Okay? So, question?
Say off and then sit. Do we run the risk of them starting to just continue to jump up because they know off sit, then I'll get a treat or I'll get reward or something? I don't like, are we going to then reinforce a bad behavior eventually?
That's a really good question. So again, they can figure out the chain very easily. I jump up, I sit, I get a treat. I jump up, I get sit, a treat. So that's why, of course, that we get dogs that do that constantly, because we actually teach them that this is the trick that you do. You jump on me and then you sit and then I give you a treat. So here's what you start to do. And this is kind of what Taco's dad was saying earlier, and that is mixing it up. So if you're giving your dog constant feedback when they're doing it right, which you should be doing, meaning you are telling them with your words, by the way, you understand that this is the thing that people are the worst at. All us human beings are the worst at giving them positive feedback. We love to give negative feedback, but positive feedback we have a problem with. I need you to be telling your dog 5 more times, yes, you're doing it right, to every 1 time you don't do it right. Now, if Millie, at this point, Millie is old enough, I think, that if she were to jump on you and you said off, sit, then if you keep talking, going, that's a good girl. Oh my God, what a good girl. That is such a nice girl. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a treat. Now I've just waited 5 seconds before I gave you the treat.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it immediately. It's not an immediate action. It's not a chain, right? So, because also what you're doing there is you're working on duration, on a stay. Because you're telling her, because if you have anything in your hand, even you know what? I love imaginary treats. I love imaginary treats so very much. I bet you if you gave your dog a real treat and then you reached in and gave them an imaginary treat, they would probably eat it. So imaginary treats, I act like I have treats all the time. I love it. It works so well. So if they jump on me and I go, oh, sit. Okay, thank you. Oh my God, that's such a good dog. Oh my God, that's such a good dog. Yes, yes, yes. There's your treat. Then you're working on duration because you're keeping them with you. You're keeping them with you and you're starting to work on your stay behavior. Okay, that's how you can break up the chain. Okay, questions? Anybody? Okay, now the other thing is I will often, now we've talked about yesterday, if you give them feedback for nipping you or puppy biting you, I stay away from the word bite because bite tends to make people think they mean harm, and puppies do not mean harm. So I like to say puppy nipping and chewing because it's different. However, if the puppy jumps on you, you should give them feedback, meaning you give them feedback that it hurts you. So I will oftentimes, a puppy jumps on me, especially if it's a big puppy and they are, ow, sit, thank you so much. You're giving them feedback. Now, of course, I want you to be careful. If you tell me that when you go, ow, your puppy goes, party, then we're not going to do it that exciting. You know what I mean? If the ow is a party, then that's not what we want to do. But it is important to give them feedback that hurts me. I don't like it. Because right then I've been very specific about what it is I don't want and immediately what it is I do want, which is the most important thing. What is it that you do want? Now, none of you should be going, oh, Taco, right? Why? What is that? What does their name mean? When I say your name, what do I want from you, puppy?
To look at you.
Give me your attention, I'm addressing you. Yes, give me your attention, I'm addressing you. That's it. So when your puppy jumps on you, please do not go, oh, Taco! Because all you've done there is said my name with your ugly face and ugly voice, and I don't know why. That's a hard one because we all communicate with each other that way. I can say your name in a way that means I don't like what you're doing, please stop. That's not clear for your dog. If you say their name with your ugly face and ugly voice, that means they are doing something you don't want them to do. It's probably a natural doggy hobby, like chewing or jumping. So if you don't want them to do something, then you should do what?
Redirect them.
Redirect them. Tell them what it is you do want them to do. Indeed. Okay? No and their name is not enough. It is not communicating clearly. Sometimes I have to tell people, stop saying no. So if your puppy is jumping on you, and you go, no, 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 no. First of all, I'm playing with you. I'm giving you human interaction. Second of all, no is not enough. It's not specific enough. I'm jumping, I'm clawing, I'm putting my mouth on you, I'm doing all these things. Which part are you saying no to? I don't know which behavior you mean. However, if I say, ow, sit, now I'm communicating clearly because you know what I'm talking about, right? So be very careful about that. We are confusing. We speak a foreign language and then we expect them to understand all kinds of stuff that they don't. Okay? All right. So here are the two things. Did anybody take Haley's touch class today, learning to hand target? Yeah? Okay, good, good, good. So, and then we talked about it in Trick's class a little bit today. And then I think we also talked about it in the chew and biting stuff yesterday as well, just the hand target. So this is something, when I tell you that people are harder to train than dogs, this is something that other people can do, and that is a touch. If you start teaching your dog to touch, meaning if they jump on me and I'm standing and I say, ah, touch, 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 touch. Now I'm teaching you to jump, but not on me. So this is one more thing that you can do to redirect. If they can't keep their sit, start with a sit and then ask them to do some touch. This is another way to redirect when they have ants in their pants and they cannot keep a sit stay yet. Okay? There's another one that we often will work that works very, very well. Anybody know what that one is? Another behavior to teach to redirect from a jump up? So other people can do sit. What you can do is spin. Spin is very, very easy. You just take a treat, I can teach it to you later, and you just lure into a spin. So I can do sit, thank you, touch, 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 spin, 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 thank you, sit, touch, touch, spin, spin, while I get out that crazy energy of the greeting, right? If I have 3 behaviors I can keep redirecting you to until the crazy energy of the greeting gets taken out, then I can either sit on the floor with you and play, or you're gonna be calm enough to be able to do something else, okay? But the touch and the spin are things that you can incorporate because none of them can keep a sit stay yet. All right, everybody understand that? Also, a jump for joy. If you teach a touch like this, then you're teaching a jump for joy. It's so good. That's so good. If they need to jump, if that's part of their natural doggy habit that they love to do, cool, jump. Just jump here. Jump for joy, jump for joy, jump for joy, not on me. You're teaching them to do something else. Okay? Questions? Anybody have questions about teaching the spin or the touch? Okay, these are redirects, redirects, redirects. Remember, if you're saying no 500 times in a row, it is not working. If you're saying their name 500 times in a row, it is not working. If you're saying anything 500 times in a row, it's noise and your dog doesn't care about what you're saying at all. Okay, they only start to care if your tone and energy changes, and then it has nothing to do with the actual word. Hi, hello. It has nothing to do with the actual word. It's just your tone and energy in your voice. Okay, so if you say no, always follow up with what you do want so you can end on yes. Try your best to end on yes all of the time. Okay, now, can any of you tell me, when are the times, did anybody, you all told me that your dog has been reinforced at least once this week for jumping up. How were they reinforced? What happened? Anybody tell me any particular situation? Cutie.
For Coco, whenever Coco jump on me, like I will bend down and like pet her.
So meaning it's an immediate reaction. You jump on me, I bend down, love, 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 love. So she's like, cool, this is a cool trick. Watch how I train my mom. I jump on her and then she gives me love. So yes, that is absolutely a chain of a reinforcement. Good. Anybody else?
When we're on the walk, people will talk to her because they won't touch her, but they'll talk to her. And that's the hardest part, is just, can you please be quiet?
Right, because people see a cute puppy and they're like, oh, puppy, puppy, which only gets her more worked up, right? So if you do not have a hands-free belt leash, I love a hands-free belt leash. I love a hands-free belt leash so, so much. The one that's we have in our boutique or on our, it's on my list. That's the one I like the most. It's not fancy at all. Here's the reason I like it the most, is because there are tons of hands-free belt leashes on the market, but most of them, the leash part is bungee. I do not want the leash part to be bungee. So meaning that the belt, I want the belt to be adjustable and the leash to be adjustable, meaning I can make it as short as 2 to 3 feet or as long as 6 feet. So if you have a hands-free belt leash, this is a really great thing to be able to use if people, you need to be in control of the situation. So if you start to approach a person and they're like, love, and you're like, no way, and you back it on up, that means you're in control of the situation. When you start having people back in your home and we're able to greet, do not let them be free when the doorbell rings and they walk in, because if the person walks in and the doorbell rings, what's your dog gonna do? They're gonna jump on them. And then what are the people gonna do? Ah! So now I've been reinforced and now I'm practicing. You keep them on a hands-free belt leash or just a regular leash so you are in control of the situation. If you start to approach and somebody loses their mind, you're like, nope, no, thank you. This is how we're doing it. I'm going to show you how we're doing it. You keep a sit. That's what we do. You have to take control and you have to make sure that your puppy is not practicing that behavior. If they continue to practice it, remember, if anything gets reinforced, it will continue. If anything stops being reinforced, it will extinguish. Maybe it takes 3 weeks, but it will extinguish, right? It will. So if your puppy is continuing to jump up, it's because they're getting reinforced for it. Somehow it's fun. I think in Taco's situation and in Kip's situation that I was training today, it's super fun just to do that. That whole idea, it's just a game. It's just fun. He's got a lot, he is very tenacious. He's a very independent, tenacious puppy, which is not a bad thing. Like I said, I like it. Okay. All right. What do you think, everybody? This is a lot of information, again, that we've just talked about. I've just poured out really quickly.
One last question, going back to what you were saying before. If we do use off, do we say off while they're on us and then redirect to the sit, or do we not say the word off until they're all 4 paws on the ground?
That's a good question. I say off when they're on me. So I'll say, off. And then the second 4 feet hit the floor. So I'm kind of moving myself away. And the second 4 feet hit the floor. Yes, sit.
Okay.
And then another yes. And then love for sitting. Okay. Now, but again, you're going to say it, but you're not going to expect Taco to understand what off means yet.
Yeah. That makes
Until you
sense.
practice it enough for her to understand, or him to understand, because you mark it enough for him to understand what that means.
Okay,
Now-
thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, so let me remind you, I know that many of you have taken these classes with me before the past few days. Thank you so much. I want to say you're going to get an email. Joanna's going to send an email because I want to, if you've taken any with Haley or myself, if you take any short video, under a minute video of you doing any of these things with your puppy, please send it to us. We want to put it on our social media and share it. Or if you share it on your social media, please do tag us so that we can share it too, because we'd like to share what people are doing and how we're trying to help people during this time. Also, if you have a particular topic that you want to talk about, please do let us know and we'll talk about it. We'll teach it and we'll talk about it. Now, let me remind you, even though I've reminded you many times before, the 3 things that you must be doing, you must during this quarantine time. Many of you have already been here with me so many times, you probably know it. What's the first thing you must be doing during the quarantine time?
Leaving your puppy alone.
Leaving your puppy alone. Yes, indeed. Leaving your puppy alone. Leaving your puppy alone in the crate when you are still in the house, and actually you must leave the house at least once a day for at least 15 to 20 minutes. You must, okay? So that they continue to be used to it. They've got to learn to be alone. They have to. Everybody, we're gonna have a big problem on our hands if we don't start doing that. Okay, what's the second thing you must do?
Mental stimulation.
As much mental stimulation as you possibly can. You cannot do enough. Because of the quarantine, you have to work twice as hard. You really do. So that's why we're trying to do as many things as we possibly can. Household items, different things. What can we do to help you get enough mental stimulation? You cannot do enough. Your puppy should never be eating out of a bowl. You should have no bowls for your puppy. No bowls at all. Only puzzles. Only puzzles or hand feeding for training. Okay? And the last thing?
Handling.
Handling, that's right, handling. Good, look at you guys, gold star for all of you. Handling, so handling and gentling, feet, hands, belly, tail and booty area, ears, teeth, all the stuff, all right? Making sure that they're so comfortable with that when you start handling them, they turn into Zen Dog. Zen Dog is fun, I love this exercise, it's a cool exercise. And then when you start meeting people, you just pass them on along and look, here's the exercise you can do with my dog, and they love people that we've done this exercise. Okay? Thank you guys. Anybody have any last minute questions, concerns, comments?
Thank you.
Thanks
No.
everybody. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Stay safe.
Thank you, everybody. You too, please.